Have you ever heard your own voice whispering back at you in the dark when you know you're completely alone? I did, and I wish to God I hadn't. It happened in the deep pine forests of Oregon. I went out there to clear my mind, just me, my gear, and the silence of nature. But what I found was something that knew me, something that wanted to become me. It all started when I heard whispers outside my tent. At first I thought it was just the wind. But then it started speaking in my voice. I didn't believe in the supernatural until the forest whispered back. I had been planning this trip for months. No trail partners, no GPS pings, just a compass, a map, and my thoughts. I arrived at the trailhead late in the morning, packed light, and started hiking into the woods. By the second day, I was miles deep. No cell signal. Just the sound of crunching pine needles under my boots, birds in the distance, and the occasional gust of wind high above. I felt free, unburdened, until night came. That night I set up camp near a shallow stream. The air was cool and still. I recorded a few notes into my phone about the day, just my usual routine, reflections, gear updates, plans for tomorrow. Around midnight I woke up. The forest was dead quiet. Then I heard it, a whisper. Soft, slithering, just outside the tent. I sat up, heart pounding. Wind, I told myself, but it wasn't. It was my voice, repeating what I'd recorded earlier. At first it said, "Camp by the stream, gears holding up, legs sore but good pace today." That was me. I had said those exact words earlier, but the voice, it was wrong, slightly off, like someone trying to imitate me but missing the rhythm. And then it added something I never said. "We're not alone out here, are we, Kevin?" My blood turned to ice. I unzipped the tent in one quick motion, heart hammering. I shone my flashlight into the trees. Nothing, no movement, no animals, no wind, just stillness and this horrible, pressing silence. I stepped out, turning slowly in a circle. Nothing, but I felt it. Something was watching, close, hiding between the trees, just out of sight. The next morning I was ready to leave. I didn't care about the rest of the trail, I just wanted out. But before packing I checked my phone. The voice recorder had been running all night, hours of audio. At first it was just me talking before sleep, but then something else, something repeating me, and then answering me. I listened. At 2:12 a.m. I heard myself say, "Good pace today, legs are holding up." Then a 10-second pause. And a reply. It was my voice, but twisted, slowed down, layered with something beneath, like another voice, deeper, growling just beneath mine. It said, "You don't belong here, Kevin." I dropped the phone. I didn't sleep the next night. Every time I started to drift off, I heard movement outside, branches cracking, soft, deliberate footsteps, not animals, something pacing, circling my tent, and then it whispered again. Only this time I heard it from two places at once, outside and inside my head. It started finishing my sentences, saying what I was about to say, mocking me in my own voice, a breath behind my thoughts. I shouted, "Leave me alone." And the forest whispered back, "Leave me alone." But then, barely audible, "Why? You brought me with you." I screamed. At dawn, I ran. I didn't pack, just grabbed my phone, my knife, and bolted. No trail, just the compass and blind instinct. For hours I heard things behind me. Laughter, my own voice begging me to stop. I didn't. I didn't stop until I hit a ranger station on the edge of the forest. They said I looked like I hadn't slept in days, but I had only been gone 2 nights. I still have the recordings. I've played them for others. They just hear static, maybe a word or two, but I know what's there. I hear me. And something else, something that followed me out of those woods. Sometimes late at night, I hear whispering again. And when I check my phone, the recorder is running. People talk about the beauty of untouched wilderness, but sometimes things are untouched for a reason. Something was in those trees. If you ever go hiking in the Oregon woods and the trees seem too quiet and the wind starts whispering back in your voice, leave. Don't listen, don't speak, and whatever you do, don't hit record. Have you ever had the forest just erase you? Not lose you, erase you. Like it decided you no longer belonged and covered its tracks to prove it? That happened to me last fall in northern Ontario. I thought I was alone out there. I thought I knew the woods, but something out there knew me, and it didn't want me to leave. I'm Emma. I've been hiking solo for years, Algonquin, Temagami, the Shield, you name it. I had taken 2 weeks off from work, no emails, no people. Just me, my tent, and the northern wilderness. But none of that mattered this time, because something else was in those woods. I chose a less traveled trail in a provincial park up north. I wanted silence, real, uninterrupted silence. I parked my Jeep at the trailhead, signed the logbook, and started in. The provincial park I picked was huge, acres of untouched forest, rivers, and sky. I've done dozens of solo hikes before. I knew how to navigate, how to read a compass, how to leave markers. The forest was perfect. Cool air, golden leaves, the sound of nothing but my own footsteps. It felt like the trees were older than time. I followed the markers. Bright orange paint on bark, couldn't miss them. A few hours in, I stopped to rest. Ate a granola bar, drank some water. When I stood up to keep moving, something felt off. I turned around to glance at the way I came, and my stomach dropped. The trail was gone. Not overgrown, not hard to see. Gone. The path I had just walked minutes ago was now dense forest. No markers, no broken twigs, no footprints. I checked my GPS. It showed me on the trail, but my eyes didn't see one. It was like the forest had closed behind me, seamlessly, silently. Panic started to build, but I fought it. I had my GPS, a compass, none of which made sense. The needle spun slowly, like it was unsure. The GPS showed me in blank space, like the world had glitched. I told myself maybe I took a wrong turn. Maybe the trail curved and I missed it. I spent 2 hours looping through the woods, trying to find it again. Nothing. Sunlight was starting to fade. I had no choice. I set up camp, right there. I figured I'd wait until morning, retrace my steps in daylight, but the woods were wrong that night. Just after dusk, I saw the lights. Faint, pale blue, silent. They moved through the trees, slowly, deliberately, circling my tent. At first I thought they were fireflies, but they were too big, too cold-looking, and they didn't blink. Then I realized there were no footsteps, no crunching leaves, just the lights, floating, watching me. I didn't sleep. I didn't even zip the sleeping bag. I just sat up in the dark, clutching my knife, listening to the nothingness. At first light, I bolted out of that tent, and it was back. The trail, just a few meters from where I camped, clear as day, bright orange markers, footprints, my footprints, leading right to it. I stood there, staring, too afraid to trust it. But what choice did I have? I followed it, fast, barely stopped to drink. I made it back to my Jeep by noon. At the ranger station, I reported everything. The missing trail, the lights, the return. He looked at me like I'd said a ghost walked me home. Then he paled. "You're the third this month," he said. "Same place, same story." I asked him what it meant. He just stared at the map on the wall. "Stay away from that part of the park," he whispered. "It doesn't want you there." I don't go into the woods alone anymore. Sometimes late at night, I still see blue lights outside my apartment window. Just for a second. Then they vanish. But I know they're watching. And the worst part of me still hears the whispering. Calling me back. Whatever's in that forest, it watches, it waits, and sometimes it takes. Not forever. Just long enough to remind you that out there, you're not in control. I still have dreams. I'm in the woods. The trail fades and the lights come back. And when I wake up, my bedroom feels a little colder than it should. If you ever find yourself in northern Ontario, if you ever find yourself hiking alone and the trail disappears behind you, don't stop. Don't camp. Run. And whatever you do, don't look at the lights. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Have you ever seen something in the woods you can't explain? I should have left when the eyes disappeared, but by then, it was already too late. You ever get the feeling something is watching you, but it's not human? That's what happened to me. I used to think the forest was peaceful, a place to escape, but after what happened in the Smoky Mountains, I don't think I'll ever go back. It was late October when I decided to take a solo trip. I needed space. The Smokies always had this calmness that helped clear my head. No phone, no people, just me and nature. I packed light, tent, food, gear, journal, and my old camping knife. I planned to hike a few days off trail away from the noise. It was peaceful at first. The air was crisp, the leaves were golden, and I felt like I was the only person on Earth. After a full day of hiking, I found a perfect clearing a few miles off the main trail. I pitched my tent, gathered some wood, and got a fire going before sunset. Everything was quiet, too quiet. No birds, no rustling leaves, just silence. But I brushed it off, figured the animals were bedding down for the night. That first night was calm. I made dinner, sipped some whiskey, stared at the flames, and listened to the water trickle as the stars came out. The silence was beautiful. No animals, no wind, just the crackle of my fire and the hum of the forest. Around midnight, I was staring into the fire when I felt it, this weird shift, like the air got heavier. I looked up, and just beyond the glow of the firelight, I saw it. A figure, just beyond the firelight. Not moving, not coming closer, just standing there, watching me, tall, motionless, human-like. It didn't move, didn't flinch, just watched. My blood turned cold. I shouted, "Hey, who's there?" Nothing, no response, just silence. I froze. My brain couldn't process it. I thought it might be a hiker, or maybe some idiot trying to scare me. I stood up and yelled, "Hey, you lost or something?" No response. Then it slowly turned, not scared, just deliberate. It walked behind a thick tree and vanished, gone, like it was never there. I grabbed my flashlight and ran toward the tree. I don't know why. Curiosity? Stupidity? I figured I'd catch whoever it was, maybe scare them off. But when I got there, nothing. No tracks, no movement, just silence. Then I saw it. On the tree bark, fresh scratch marks, deep, like something with claws had dug in. I was about to call out again when I heard it, right by my ear, like someone whispering from inches away. Too close. I spun around, light flailing through the trees, but no one was there. My blood went cold. I backed away, and I swear the tree was warm. I ran back to camp. I don't even remember breathing, just running. When I got back, the fire had gone out, and my tent, it was zipped open. My gear scattered, but nothing taken. It was like someone had just looked through it, and on the ground was my journal, open to a blank page, but written in it, in my handwriting, "Don't come back." I didn't pack up, I didn't sleep. I sat with my back against a tree, knife in hand, eyes on the woods. Every sound, every snap of a twig made my heart stop. But I never saw it again that night. Just the feeling that it was still watching. At first light, I packed up and left, fast. I didn't eat, didn't even look back, didn't care about the trail, I just wanted out. But before I left the clearing, I turned to look at that tree one last time. The scratches were gone, like nothing had ever been there. When I finally got back to my car, I locked the doors and sat there for an hour, breathing, shaking. It's been 2 years, I still think about it. I don't know what I saw out there. I've read about forest spirits, shadow people, even things from old Cherokee legends, but nothing explains it. And sometimes, when I'm lying in bed, I hear it again, that whisper. Too close. I've had dreams, always the same. A campfire, and that figure, standing at the edge of the light, watching, waiting. Like it knows I'm still too close. If you ever find yourself camping in the Smoky Mountains, and the fire starts to die down, and you feel like something's watching you from just beyond the light, don't look, don't speak, and whatever you do, don't follow it. I still don't know what I saw that night. I still don't know if what I experienced was even real. But if you ever find yourself lost in a Pennsylvania forest and stumble across a log cabin in a clearing, don't go inside. I did. And I don't think I ever really came back. It started simple. I'd planned a 5-day solo hike through a stretch of Pennsylvania wilderness off the beaten path. I wanted silence, solitude. What I got was something else. I'd mapped everything, checked the weather, packed enough. It was supposed to be peaceful, but something went wrong. I must have wandered off the trail by accident. No GPS signal, no landmarks, just endless trees in every direction. I was completely, utterly lost. My map was soaked from the rain the night before. I thought I'd make a loop back, but by the 3rd hour of wandering, I knew I was lost. By the 3rd day, I was out of food. My last granola bar was long gone. Every rustle in the trees sounded like footsteps. My legs were shaking from hunger and exhaustion. I hadn't seen another person, trail marker, or even an animal since I got lost. That kind of silence, it presses in on you, feels wrong. Every rustle sounded like it had teeth. My hands shook. I couldn't tell if it was from the cold or the fear. And then I saw it. Through the trees, in a clearing I swear hadn't been there before. An old log cabin. No smoke, no lights. But it looked intact. It felt impossible. But I was too tired, too hungry, too desperate to question it. I knocked. Once, twice, nothing. I tried the door. It was locked. But a broken window around the side gave me an opening. I climbed in, cutting my arm on a shard of glass. Inside, the air was thick with dust, old furniture. Dust floated in shafts of faint light through boarded windows. A fireplace stuffed with dry ash. It looked like no one had lived there in decades. But it didn't feel empty. On a crooked desk near the back, I found it, a journal. Its leather cover was cracked, the pages yellowed. But it wasn't the age that chilled me. It was what was written. Page after page. Over and over, it's watching me from the trees. Sometimes in neat handwriting. Sometimes in frantic scrawls. Hundreds of times. I should have left. I know that now. But I was so tired. I barricaded the door, laid down on the floor, and closed my eyes. But sleep didn't come easy. Because as the night settled in, I heard scratching. Not at the door, not on the roof, on the walls. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Long, slow drags across the wooden wall. Then from the opposite side, then all 4 walls. Something or things circling the cabin. Scratching, testing. Around 2 a.m., I heard whispering. Not voices, but one voice, right behind the door. The sound circled the cabin, slow, like whatever it was taking its time. It said my name, slowly, like it was tasting each syllable. I didn't breathe, I didn't move, I couldn't even scream. I just watched the door and prayed, but I knew it was still out there, watching, waiting. Then something brushed the wall by my head from outside, and then a voice. Not a whisper, not a shout, just a low, guttural sentence. You shouldn't be here. As soon as the first light touched the trees, I ran. I didn't look back. I didn't care about my pack or anything else. I bolted into the forest, branches slapping my face, blood pouring from my legs. I ran until I collapsed. When I looked back, the clearing was gone. The cabin was gone. There was nothing but trees, just trees, thick, endless, like it had never been there. No clearing, no structure, nothing but forest. I stumbled onto a ranger's path 2 days later. They found me dehydrated, half-conscious. I tried to tell them about the cabin, about the journal, but they just said, there are no cabins in that part of the forest. They showed me the map, and I swear on everything, that clearing wasn't marked, and never had been. The cabin saved me, or maybe it wanted me to think that. Maybe it needed me to leave, to carry something out with me. Sometimes I wonder if I left it behind at all, or if it's still watching me, right now. Just beyond the trees, I tried to move on. I told myself I was hallucinating, delirious, but some nights I hear it, that scratching, like it's followed me. And sometimes I see trees where there shouldn't be trees. If you ever find a cabin where there shouldn't be one, don't go inside. Don't touch anything. Just turn around. Because if you don't, you might not come back alone. I woke up in the middle of the night. Not because I heard something. Not because I had a nightmare. But because I could feel something watching me. And when I turned my head slowly to look through the mesh of my tent, there they were. 2 glowing red eyes, not at ground level, not near the trees. They were hovering, too high for any animal I know. And they didn't blink, they didn't move, they just watched. I lay there frozen for hours, too afraid to breathe too loud. The eyes never left. Not until the sky began to lighten. When the sun rose, they were gone. No sound, no sign. That's when I learned this forest had a name. A name the locals never say without lowering their voice. Devil's Perch. I didn't plan for anything like this. I just wanted to get away for a bit. I'd been working remotely for months, staring at screens, boxed into conference calls, slowly losing my grip on what felt real. Nature seemed like the cure. The untouched trails of Washington State, the kind where cell service disappears and the silence is pure. I'd read about a series of forest trails near a place called Tahoma Ridge. The terrain was rugged, remote, not touristy, perfect. I brought my gear, my journal, a week's worth of dehydrated food, and I went alone. I didn't tell anyone exactly where I'd be. I liked it that way. The third night, I found a perfect clearing beside a tall black cliffside that jutted out from the earth like a watchtower. The sun was setting, and the clearing had a strange, silent beauty. I remember thinking, this feels like the edge of the world. I pitched my tent and made a small fire as the sky darkened, and that's when everything started to change. Normally, the forest has a rhythm to it. The hum of insects, the chirping of birds, the wind pushing through branches like an invisible tide. But as night fell, it all stopped. I noticed it right after I finished eating. 1 minute, frogs were croaking down near a stream. The next, silence. Complete and total. It wasn't peaceful. It was wrong. The kind of quiet that screams in your ears. I stood still by the fire for a long time. Every snap of a branch made my heart skip. But there was no movement, no eyes reflecting the firelight, nothing. I tried to shake it off, told myself it was just wilderness paranoia. But deep down, something was beginning to coil inside me, something primal, something that knew this wasn't normal. I went into the tent a little after 10, curled up in my sleeping bag, trying to read by headlamp light, but I couldn't focus. Around midnight, the air changed. It's hard to describe. It was like the temperature dropped, but the cold didn't come from outside. It came from inside the tent. I turned off my light and just lay there listening. The silence hadn't lifted. No branches creaked. No leaves rustled. Just this strange, dense stillness, like the whole forest was holding its breath. I must have dozed off at some point, but I woke up, heart pounding, short of breath. Not from a sound, from a feeling, a presence. I turned slowly toward the mesh screen, and I saw them. 2 glowing red eyes, just hovering in the black. Not animal eyes, not reflective. They were lit from within, suspended 10 feet off the ground, staring right into the tent, right into me. They didn't blink, didn't move, they weren't curious. They knew. I don't know how long I stared back. 10 minutes, an hour. My hands were shaking, but I didn't dare move. Every instinct in me screamed, don't look away. It felt like if I blinked, if I breathed too loud, something terrible would happen. The eyes never wavered, never came closer. But they didn't leave either. And the longer I looked at them, the more I felt like they weren't just watching me. They were studying me, memorizing me, waiting. The sky eventually began to lighten. The edges of the trees turned from black to gray. The air shifted. And just like that, the eyes were gone. No movement, no retreat. They just disappeared. I burst out of the tent with my boots half on and searched every inch of that forest. Nothing. No broken branches, no prints, just empty forest. I hiked out that day, didn't stop, barely drank water. I reached a tiny mountain town by sundown, found a ranger station, told the guy what I'd seen. He didn't laugh, didn't say I was imagining things. He just said, "You camped near Devil's Perch, didn't you?" I nodded. He looked away and whispered, "That place has a reputation. The old tribes, they avoided it, said the forest looks back." I looked it up later. The Salish tribes had a name for the area, Kalilts. It means the watching darkness. They believed it was cursed, not haunted. Cursed. Place where something ancient waits, and once it sees you, you never really leave. I never camped alone again. I haven't been back to Washington, but some nights I still wake up in the dark. No sound, no dreams, just a feeling. I lie there too scared to move, and every now and then I look toward the window, and just for a moment I swear I still see those red eyes, watching me,